Okay, we're live. You can go.
Thank you, Tracy. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Dion Roundtree. I am the program chair, committee chair for the Black Chamber of Commerce. And today we have a phenomenal program and presentation for you. And I'm grateful that you're here to witness this. The name of this particular program is called The Introduction to the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. And we have Ms. Elizabeth Martin, who joined the Commission on Ethics in August 2023 as the Education and Communications Manager. With over 20 years of successful and effective communications, marketing, and journalism experience, Ms. Martin manages the day-to-day delivery of educational programs, marketing projects, internal and external communications, and represents the Communication on Ethics at community and education activities. Working in line with the Commission on Ethics strategic plan, Ms. Martin oversees the Commission on Ethics campaign to increase public visibility and awareness of the Commission on Ethics and its mission. Before joining the Commission on Ethics, Ms. Martin served as a tenured professor at Palm Beach State College in the speech department for 11 years and now serves as an adjunct online professor. Prior to moving to South Florida, Ms. Martin worked at the University of North Florida, Flagler College, Duval County Schools, the Florida Times Union, and the WJCT Public Broadcasting in the Jacksonville, Florida area. Say that 3 times. In addition, Ms. Martin's work in college textbook reviews has helped champion inclusion, equity, and accessibility. Ms. Martin earned a BA in communications from Florida State University and a Master of Arts degree in communications from the University of West Florida. Without further ado, allow me to present to you our president of the Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Joseph Sanchez, just to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Dr. Roundtree. And I'm not going to hold us up much before we get to Ms. Martin. I just wanted to, again, welcome you all to our Wednesday Wisdom. We continue to try to bring program information that is useful to you and your business. I think this is important. It's important because, if we had a society that did not uphold the laws and did not make sure we hold ourselves accountable to high ethics, then we would not have a stable economy and the great country that we have. So I think that it starts at every person's level. We all have a responsibility to make sure that we do the right thing. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Ms. Martin on this. Ms. Martin, I think we have a connection too. Kristen Vera works with me over at the school district, and I think that she's part of the ethics commission as well. So looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and hopefully our audience will have some good questions for you. But I know you're going to cover some good information. So thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm starting now. I'm assuming. Oh, okay. Thank you for inviting me to your Wednesday Wisdom. I'm hopeful that I can impact some knowledge about the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. With that long bio, I will say it just means I've done a few things in journalism. I've done a few things in marketing. But overall, what my goal is to provide education and information. And I hope I can do the same with you all today. So again, as the doctor has already mentioned, I'm fairly new back to Palm Beach County. I left for about a 5-year time frame, but since I have returned, I have really been pushing the focus on, the honesty, integrity, and character that happens in our Commission on Ethics, and not just our Commission on Ethics, but hopefully the county as a whole. We're hoping to build a culture of ethics in Palm Beach County. So as I get started this afternoon, let me say that we think of the Commission on Ethics as part of a trifecta, and that is with the Commission on Ethics, the Inspector General's Office, as well as the State Attorney's Office. We are all, definitely mission driven in this one ethics, even though we have separate core responsibilities and functions. As you see, we take ethics complaints, advisory opinions we provide to the public, our public usually with the county, the elected officials and so forth, as well as training and outreach, which is definitely comes under my purview. With that, we are located in the 1916 Historic Courthouse. Again, we foster integrity in public service. We promote the public's trust and confidence in that service, and hopefully prevents conflicts between those private interests and public duties so that you can have trust and faith in your public government, but also your local officials. All right, so that we are, in this case here, we have a Commission on Ethics that watch over us for the most part. We are 5 volunteer members that are appointed by different stakeholders to serve 4-year terms. As you see, those are all listed from the Palm Beach County Bar Association in conjunction with the Hispanic Bar Association and the F. Malcolm Cunningham Bar Association. We have a representative who's now our not vice chair any longer, but just recently elected chair. Kristen Varg Garcia is from the Palm Beach County Association of Chiefs of Police. We have a representative from the Florida Atlantic University, as well as certified fraud examiners and the Palm Beach County League of Cities. So we have a wide range of individuals that sit on our commission that govern and watch over what we're doing so that we can also be accountable to the public. We have a small but mighty staff. There are 6 of us when I came on board. There's 2 investigators. We have our executive director, the general counsel, as well as intake and compliance, meaning all the calls and maybe the information that comes in to the office. We've been around for about 13 years now, going on our 14th year. And that is because way back when the cities and the counties also voted on having this Commission on Ethics. And with our 39 municipalities, they adopt this commission, our ethics as well, with the Commission on Ethics. And that also means for the most part that they're under our purview. So we are not just the county employees, we're the municipal employees. We're talking about, we do the vendors, jurisdictions of vendors and the lobbyist registration. So we're looking at a wide variety of things that we cover in our office, but the most part, you'll see the Palm Beach County Code of Ethics is about 13, 14-page document, the lobbyist registration and the post-employment ordinance. Like, why is all that important? Well, it becomes important because when we think about the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics, we provide the training for these officials and for these employees in the county. All employees, all elected officials, all appointed officials, and all employees and officials must also read our code of ethics, which they find online. So there's a training and there's also a reading component. That matters because we're hoping that with the training, with the understanding of who we are, what we do, what we've done with our advisory opinions over the last few years, that our employees and elected officials will ask first and act later. So again, you can trust that our government is doing what it should do. Now, I also like to jump in and just say we don't have jurisdiction over everyone in the county. We don't have jurisdiction of the clerk of the county courts. We don't have jurisdiction of the judiciary, the tax collector's office, the sheriff's office, the state attorney's office, or the school district of Palm Beach County. They all have their own either ethics code, or they might report to the state has also an ethics code. So we just cover what we have here in our local community. And again, why is that important? Because my job, my role now is to get out in the community and tell you who we are and what we do. So the education and information is especially important. So we might get a call that says, hey, my boss is being mean to me. And unfortunately, it's not the nicest thing. However, that's not under our purview. We look strictly at the code of ethics. If it's harassment, no, that will not be us as well. Again, tax collector's office, the school district's not us. We might try to give you information or refer you to the appropriate organization or department. So we are strictly bound by the code of ethics. With that, we have conducted over 750 in-person trainings for employees and officials. We have on-demand training that we also provide online with our website. And so you can find it at palmbeachcountyethics.com. We also have YouTube available so you can watch things along the way. I will say we are updating a lot of that content material in the very near future. So when we think about ethics, again, it's not so much the right and wrong as you think about it in human affairs. What we're talking about ethics for us is that document, the code of ethics, which covers, for the most part, there's anti-nepotism. You should not be probably hiring your sister, your brother, your, stepsister, your mother-in-law, those kinds of individuals right directly under you, right? It also covers things such as gifts, making sure that our employees are also elected officials report gifts over $100. You also have on there things about special favors or special benefits, that hopefully that no one's taking these special favors or benefits. They're not receiving tips to do the work that they already are paid to do by the county. And of course, there's travel in there too, like who's paying maybe for these kinds of travel excursions. So we cover a lot of different things under the code of ethics, right? So what we do ask our employees as well as elected officials is to think about this ethics decision tree. One, is it legal? And that is legal all across the board, local laws, state laws, federal laws, maybe a city or county ordinance as well. Is it legal? Does it comply with our code of ethics? And this is where we might get questions from county employees or other elected officials asking, what about this? Can I take this trip? Can I go to this event that might be paid for? So it's asking you, does it comply with our code? Does it comply with the city or county policy, which might be in addition to what our code of ethics has? And then also, even if you pass all those different parameters, you have to ask yourself, could it present a problem? The public and the presentation of it, could it create a problem for your department, your organization, in our case, Palm Beach County? And so you're asking yourself each of these along the way as far as maybe making decisions. And if in doubt, again, we say ask first, ask later. So here's the things that we do tend to cover, as I briefly mentioned: the misuse of public office or employment, corrupt misuse of official position. That's where you might get those special privileges or benefits, all those kickbacks and things. Like, we're going to say no, like just say no. It also is about disclosure of voting conflicts. If there might be things going on in your community or your area, particularly, let's say, on your street or the street of your business, maybe you abstain from those voting types of issues and allow the other maybe county commission or allow the other city commission to vote on those issues and again abstain. There's contractual relationships, not so much that you all would know, but doing business with the county, we also have some exceptions and things and waivers, but also making sure we're fair across the board for everyone. I mentioned travel, I mentioned contingency fees. Those are the tips that we might be getting, and we should not be tipped for the work that we do. We're already being paid by the county. Honesty in your application, which is a big one that comes up, has came up most recently, and disclosure of certain kinds of information so that you're privy to information as county employees, if it's with the board or if it's with the vendor, or maybe it's over at Parks and Recreation, and that you are not disclosing information that is not readily available to the public. All right. So there is a formal process that happens that you can start with a call. You can start with an email. There's a few ways you'll see at the end of the slideshow in which individuals contact us about complaints. So we look to see, one, is it legally sufficient? And then it goes through this, hierarchy here and decides that one, it might be dismissed, or two, it could be some other things that we take in consideration, such as we might find violations, there might be sanctions, etc. But there's a public hearing that comes in before a lot of that tends to happen. But there is a process that is formalized for us to look at complaints. All righty. So here's where we think about where you, the public, where we're looking for the public's participation and support in what we do, civic participation, is that when we think about gifts as a whole for county employees, that no local government employee or official, other persons or business entities shall knowingly solicit or accept directly or indirectly. We're talking about those items greater than $100 in aggregate for a calendar year. That's put in place for a reason. And we're not talking about your family that might work in a different department. We're not talking about friendships that you've made on the job. We're talking about maybe those other outside individuals. And if it is greater than that $100, we're asking that you report it. We have a reporting period that happens at this, it's the full calendar year. We just had a reporting period for January. So it's best if you report things as soon as possible. If you did accept something that probably you should not have accepted, there's definitely a small window of time. It's not always at the beginning of the new year that you can correct that. You can pay for the value of that item. You can return the item. There's a number of things that you could try to do within a certain amount of time, but it's not a full calendar year. So we're also making sure that everyone understands that. There's absolute prohibitions that we think about for gifts that our county employees or elected officials receive. There's no kickbacks, bribes, no quid pro quo. And as I mentioned earlier, the one about tips, because you should not be compensated for the job that you're doing across the board. Now, it tends to be that if these things are going on, if it's a gift, if it's travel, it usually isn't the person that's reporting themselves. And that's where the public comes to help us out in what we do, because you might see something that's questionable and you might have questions about it. And that's where it starts. Our goal is to prevent these incidents happening across Palm Beach County before it makes the news. That would be a good barometer for us, is that we're catching things before they happen. So if you see something, then we're asking the public to maybe say something. There's also this anti-nepotism law that these officials should not be appointing, as I mentioned, promoting, advancing, advocating, all those kinds of things for positions for people who are directly under you, supervising, particularly supervising along the way. And that doesn't mean that, sorry, let's move the images over. That doesn't mean that you can't work with the county. There's tons of jobs with the county. It's just being mindful about working in the same department. Like, I'm a boss and then I hire my daughter and I hire my son, and that probably would not be the most fair thing for everyone across the board. So we're asking you to be mindful of those kinds of things with our anti-nepotism. There's also a lobbyist registration ordinance that lobbyists should register here with our county. And then we have contact laws for all lobbying activity. Again, because we're building these special relationships, not just with lobbyists, but also with vendors across the board. We're making sure that it's as fair as possible, equitable for any number of people that might want to do business with the county or want to do different kinds of transactions with the county. Post-employment is that after you've done, and usually for county commissioners and there's other high-level ranking employees, we're asking that you are prohibited from lobbying for about 2 years after you leave office. And we have different levels for that. So someone who might have been a very active county commission, if it is in, let's say, Riviera Beach area, or it could be Delray, it could be even Wellington, we're asking that these officials across the board think about, not think, but in this case here, prevent them from lobbying for about 2 years. And also with our county employees or county commissioners, those particularly high level, lobbying prohibited for about 6 months, an additional 18 months for level 1, and for level 2, the next level executives, lobbying prohibitions for 6 months and an additional 6 months. So there's usually some window before you come back and actually take on employment or some way that might lobby with the county. Our motto is ask first, act later, particularly again for the county employees. If in doubt, you have a question, if it's a gift, if it's travel, if it's hiring practices, again, those are questions that might come up. And all of the information we get from advisory reports to the summaries of any kind of meeting that we have are public records. You can find those on our website. I'll repeat it at the end, but all of that is public record. So you can see the outcomes of all the advisory opinions, and you can see the outcomes of all the complaints that we have in our office. Advisory opinions are open to anyone within our jurisdiction. Again, it's just asking the question ahead of time, so you can get an opinion from our office that we've researched, we've checked the code, and we're saying, here's maybe what you could do, and here's definitely what you couldn't do. Since its establishment, we've had over 500 opinions that have been issued. And so I will say we've had great success in that people are asking now those questions, like ask first, act later, so that they're not doing anything that might be prohibited by our code. We are quasi-judicial. So in that sense, we are civil enforcement. We can do a letter of reprimand. We can do a letter of instruction. We can order restitution. And in some extreme cases, maybe issue a fine up to $500 for the violation. So mostly though, we do the investigations, we do the letter of reprimand, we might dismiss some complaints. We also have, again, the letter of instruction, or we can order restitution. Right. And so what I do here is try to spread the word about who we are and what we do, what we don't do, who's under our jurisdiction and who's not under our jurisdiction. Our goal is that you can trust your local government. And long before I came here, I guess there were things that were going on in Palm Beach County that were questionable. There's been a number of news stories that happen about maybe county employees or what's going on with your elected officials. Our job, our goal is to prevent those things from happening, so that when you think of government, at least here in Palm Beach County, that you feel that we have a culture and a community of ethics going on. So my goal, again, is to get out to the public and tell you who we are and what we do, from speaking to groups and organizations like your own. I do events in schools because it does start young. Those kids who are growing up in our public schools will maybe one day run for your local office or be on your county commission or maybe have a high-ranking position with the county. We're starting young to teach you or teach everyone that about the ethics that goes on and what exactly we do cover. As I mentioned, civic awareness increases understanding of what we do and how we do it, informs and educate on the roles and responsibilities of government staff, officials, lobbyists, and vendors. So our goal is to promote that active civic participation among our residents, businesses, and visitors to Palm Beach County. And I'll give you a perfect example. I had a visitor stop by just this week and had a question about something going on in another department. We're over here at the 1916 Historic Courthouse, and right across the way is the Governmental Center, and had a complaint. Now, we do a lot of things, but that would not be our particular area, again, because we cover the code, which deals with very specific things about voting, about nepotism, about gifts, about travels, about tips. We're doing very specific things here. So just because someone is upset with you or not treating you fairly in the office, it may not be us. It might be HR, it might be another department that goes on. And after we have complaints, and after we have resolved a number of these complaints, either dismissed or in some cases, there might be a letter of reprimand, there's also additional consequences that can happen with your city, with your town, or with your village, other than us, and also with the county, which might be HR. So we're just one level of enforcement about ethics in our county, but we definitely want everyone to understand who we are and what we do. And with that, here is how you reach us, the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. We do have a website, palmbeachcountyethics.com. There you can find complaints. We have a great search engine. You can find the advisory opinions. I do a lot of social media, so I'm posting about reminders about what we've done. I post reminders about anti-nepotism, post reminders about gifts during that gift holiday season. So I'm here also just to reinforce all the things that we're trying to do along the way for your county. Our hotline is 877-766-5920. I am again Elizabeth Martin. I am the Education and Communications Manager for Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This was very informative, and I really appreciate the time and you reaching out to us in regards to who you are, what you do. And I want to just open it up to see if anyone has any questions. And I see Mr. Bruce Lewis, who's a board member for the Black Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Bruce.
Hi,
Hi.
Dr. Roundtree. And Miss Martin, thank you for a wonderful presentation. And it's good to see people of color over there. So that's another wonderful benefit. As you may or may not know, I sat on the ethics drafting ordinance committee some years ago as a
I did
direct result.
not.
Yes, and as a direct result of something you touched on at the county commission level related to a project. I won't go into the details, but a lot of people were penalized in some severe ways and varying ways to others. I have a couple of questions just to kind of shore up some things as the Black Chamber would love, first of all, to go through the ethics training coursework that you offer. And maybe if you have kind of a guiding principle document that we could have on file for us, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. In fact,
Okay.
I have a couple things in my bag today. So when I head out of here, I'm going to drop some things off at your Chamber of Commerce. Absolutely.
Do you have those
Do
available
you-
in electronic form?
I do have a few things electronic form, but not as many as I would share with the public, because
Okay.
it would be the code of ethics is the actual document that you will
Yes.
see. All right.
Okay, and then my last question
Mhm.
is, how closely does our ordinance follow or mirror the state's ordinance?
It is very similar in nature, the state and the county, but from my understanding, we might ask for a few more things. It might be more detailed. So, for example, when I started, I was concerned like things like, oh, this anti-nepotism, there's great jobs with the county. What if, my cousins or relatives want a job with the county? Well, for that, I recently did a post about it maybe a couple months ago, but I went in and listed, it says your mother, it says your father, maybe your stepmother, it says your stepfather, it says your sister, your half sister, your stepsister. It goes maybe your first cousin, but maybe not your third cousin. So it goes into, details that you may
Detail,
not
yeah.
see some other places. So we try to be as exact as possible. However, because it is a new Commission on Ethics and a new document, it is evolving too.
Okay,
Right.
that's wonderful to know. And I got on the call late, and this is my last little remark.
Sure.
Did you cover the process or procedure focused on the whistleblower situation at all?
I did not.
Okay.
Elizabeth, could you please stop sharing your PowerPoint so that everyone
Okay.
can see and participate?
Sorry, thank you.
about that.
There you go. Sorry.
The
Okay, you're
reason why I ask
showing
that is
your screen. You're good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bruce.
the reason why I ask that, I think a lot of our board members and businesses that do business with governmental entities may get entangled in some way, shape, or form, and don't know the recourse and the confidentiality of the whistleblower. And so, if you don't mind, could you kind of briefly discuss that with us?
Right. It is written into our code, not so much as whistleblower, but that you would not maybe antagonize someone of that nature, that you should have the freedom to share any concerns as anyone along the way. And at this stage, any number of our complaints today, because we have some things going on with the state legislature, but today we still can have anonymous complaints for that reason.
Okay.
So it doesn't
And
have to be, or it could have been something it has happened in the past that might have, from what I'm told, okay, I'm fairly new still, but have originated from things that have been a news report that now we're looking at. Or
exactly.
it could have been another question that came in that has us looking at maybe another employee because of the question from one, so it's a lot of ways that we get information. And as of today, it still can be anonymous, which for the whistleblower or the person who's concerned about the job or, retaliation, that is the best recourse for many of them.
And it's held in the highest of confidentiality.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Joe, it looks like your hand's up.
Yeah. Couple of things. One is, does the Commission on Ethics ever attend like pre-bid meetings or meetings with subcontractors? Or because I'll tell you why. I found this useful in some of the other places I work is that there are sometimes subcontractors are not treated fairly by general contractors, right? And they don't know where to turn, because there's some unethical bid practices that take place, bid shopping, or there's a whole bunch of things you can do with bids. So I'm just wondering if there's anything that the commission puts out, either attend the meetings or require the cities, municipalities to put into their contracts to let bidders know where to turn if they experience some of these troubles.
Well, I'm not sure how the municipalities share about our information. And yet all of the staff, we go around every year to the 39 municipalities and we pay a visit to either a city meeting, a town meeting, or whatever your meeting might be called in your municipality. Like I'm on schedule even like next week to go and visit a few, like I have Boynton Beach, I have Boynton Beach. Who else do I have? Oh, Village of Golf. So I go around and also do a shorter version of this presentation at those municipalities. But they have adopted our code so they know who we are. How they present the information to their public, I'm not exactly sure. So with that, we go to those municipality meetings. We go to the West Palm Beach meeting for the city council. However, we don't go to every single meeting for every single department. Right. So that is where we have the hotline that you can call in. Again, as of today, you can still do it and it's anonymous. So you can call in and share your concerns and we'll look into it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how do we get that information to prospective bidders so that they know who to call when they feel like they're struggling. So maybe we can help get the word out about that hotline.
And that's what I was going to say. The thing is, that is my job to get out more to the public. So if there is a formal, like there is, I don't know, there's the Palm Beach County, Chief of Sheriffs, or is the Black Business Bureau, or is the Kiwanis Club. If there's a group that likes me or would like for me to come out, I can do that. Right. I just need to know who they are and how to reach out to them. So that is the new role that I've been hired to do, because we understand here at the Commission on Ethics, it's needed, not just the attorneys in office who's taking the complaints and concerns, not just the investigators, but someone to get out and say, hey, I'm the Commission on Ethics. And I will say, since I've been doing this, I went to a number of places and they're like, I've never heard of you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So information and education is key to the role that I have.
Right. Okay. Two more quick questions. One is, you talk about gifts for over $100. Can the private company give a gift to an office for over $100? So say it's not for an individual, but say, okay, I'm giving you I don't know, a box of cookies. The box of cookies are worth $125, but they're for everybody in your office.
Right. We would look at that. Yes, we do try to divide the cost per person.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yes, I'm not saying that someone doesn't leave, I don't know, like you're saying, a box of candy at your office, and now you're trying to say, let me give you back the box of candy back. Yeah. But if it's to one particular person in the office and it's $125, then either you need to report that gift, right? Because the reporting part is the key part. And I will say, if you're not reporting the gifts over $100, why is that? Who's giving the gift and why are they giving the gift to you? Right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My last question is, you talk about the registering for as a lobbyist. So is my understanding that you do not have to register as a lobbyist if you're lobbying for your own business? Is that correct?
For your own business?
Right. Is it right? My understanding is that you have to register as a lobbyist if you're lobbying for somebody else. But if you're going in there as Joe Sanchez Construction and we're going to meet with a county commissioner, I'm not registering as a lobbyist. I'm just representing my own business as Joe Sanchez Construction. Correct?
I'm not exactly sure, but that's definitely a question I'll ask the attorney,
Okay.
right? I'm
Right.
not exact. From my understanding, if you're lobbying doing business with the county as a lobbyist or as a representative of that entity, that yes, you need to register. So,
Okay.
but that one, I'm not exactly sure. Again, I'm still fairly new, but it's definitely a question I'll ask the attorney so I can get back to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Bruce, for your questions. Anyone else have questions for Elizabeth Martin, Communication and Education Manager for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics? Anyone have any other questions for her? You can come
I
off
do.
mute.
Just one other one, just out of
Sure.
curiosity. How long have you been with the office?
7 months.
Okay.
7 months. Yeah.
And Elizabeth, I may have asked you this via email. If any board that's located in the county, if they wanted to have you come and do a training for the board,
Absolutely.
so you can do that. Can you
Right.
explain a little more about that?
Right. So my training would be here on the Code of Ethics or any particular. So if you wanted a training just on me talking about the code, but more so about the lobbyist registration, I could do that. Excuse me. Or if you want to talk about the code and maybe more specifically the anti-nepotism and how that looks, I go into more detail. So any aspect of the training that covers the Code of Ethics, I can do, and I can go into more detail on any one particular component of the Code of Ethics. I just need to know which one you might like. The lobbyist, I may not be as prepared because I really don't deal a lot with the lobbyist or the registration. Right.
But any aspect of the code.
Any aspect of this Code of Ethics, right? From the special favors and benefits to, lobbyist registration, the gifts, the tips, the travel, the one that comes up that seems to be a small thing. And if you all seen the news recently that came up most recently for us was about the honesty and application that happened in one of our southern counties. So it's little things that really, it inhibits the public's ability to trust what we do when you're lying about such a small thing, right? Those kinds of things. So any aspect of the Code of Ethics I can cover into detail. Yes.
Okay.
I just need to know when and where.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And we truly appreciate you being here. Keely, did you have a question? I saw you came on.
I did. Hello, everybody. Hello, Elizabeth. I have a question about gifts. What if you get a gift in the mail, and this has actually happened to me more than once, valued at significant, and it comes in the mail. Do you have an obligation to return that gift?
If it's under $100, it's yours. I mean, but if it's over, then hopefully no one's sending a random person a gift over $100, right? And so I will say, if it's something that you do not want to accept, you don't want to be questioned about it, then in that case, can you find a way to return it? There's also a way in which we say that if you did accept a gift, you can pay back the value of the gifts. Let's say there's tickets to, we get this often, I think around the holiday season, you have all these kinds of fundraisers and someone gets a ticket, then maybe the value of that ticket is $250. Well, pay the value of that ticket, even though you received it as a gift.
Wow.
So that's how you stay above board with what we do, is that we want to know about it and what did you do because of it.
Thank you.
Right.
That's so interesting. Thank you, Elizabeth. It really is, and it seems to be intricate because things you think are sincerely innocent, you find out that they're not. They're not
Right.
innocent.
Oh, I agree. Even questions about, like I say, jobs, and if you're a supervisor and you may not directly supervise the person you want to hire, maybe you're here, but they're down 2 more levels. It's a person that's in a department where you want your son to work. And
Mm.
can your son work in that path? Well, no, because at some point you're supervising their supervisor. So it does become that where if you're in doubt, and those are questions we get all the time about, can someone work in my department? Can someone, because it is a big county and there's jobs to be had. And definitely there's family members that work all across the county, but maybe not directly under one another. So it is just saying that we love the advisory opinions for that reason. Just ask first and then act later.
That makes sense. Bruce.
Yeah, so my experience in doing the draft and sitting on this committee was there were 2 things that I took away from that. Uh, uh, when in doubt, ask about, okay,
Yes.
right? And when gray, stay away. So
I love it.
that just summarizes it for me because I do a lot of work in government. So, and I just govern myself by those things, those 2 guiding
Exactly.
principles. And I've been in situations where I've called the office and asked for some clarity on the situation before.
Exactly.
So that's the
Yeah.
best way to stay safe, folks.
I'm going to
Yeah.
borrow those, in fact.
Well, there's a patent on those, Miss Martin. I'm sorry. Comes at a cost.
Love that. Thank you, Bruce. Are there any other questions? Well, first, I want to thank you all for being here and just wanted to touch base real quick to give you some reminders. I'm going to attempt to take our speaker off of speaker view just to give you some quick updates. Just to let you know that we do have a couple of events coming up. We have a community networking event that is sponsored by FAU, and it's going to be at Venture X on tomorrow from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Please spread the word. We hope you will attend. And then another event that's taking place is on Friday, April 5th. This is a new event that the Black Chamber is a part of. It's called the Quarterly Connect, and it's a chamber mixer. And that will be at the Majestic Ash Lounge from 6 to 10 p.m. Again, please spread the word. We hope that you will be able to come and join and be a part of those events. And again, thank you all for being here. Joe, did you have any closing remarks?
No, you hit those couple of things, and so I'm glad you did that. Just again, thank everybody for being with us today. Thanks to our speaker, Ms. Martin, for sharing that information with us, and we'll be following up because I do want to make sure that we're making sure we're helping to get the information, the word out to our members so that they know where to turn if they have some questions about ethics. So I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to sign off.
Thank you.
Goodbye now.
You're
See you guys.
welcome.